Majority Leader. In fact, we were able to sponsor said measure yesterday. And I think the period that we are in now is the period of interpellation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Majority Leader.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now then move to recognize the Honorable Tino from the minority.
The Honorable Tino is now recognized. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Magandang hapon po sa sponsor. May mga ilang concerns po tayo sa House Bill 4744. Well, una na po. Okay. Well, first of all, in the declaration of policy, let me note that a portion of it reads as follows. As part of its mandate, it is the state's policy to establish and maintain a system of scholarship grants, subsidies, and other incentives which shall be available to deserving students as determined by the guidelines in both public and private schools, especially to the underprivileged. At this point, Mr. Speaker, gusto ko lang po muna i-note yung paggamit ng mga salitang ito, deserving and underprivileged. And in a later section, I will come back to this point. My first question has to do with the coverage na pinaka-importante po. Kasi tama po ba, Mr. Speaker, na essentially the bill proposes an overhaul of the way the government subsidizes private basic education. So, kung dati, merong kombinasyon ng mga scholarship, vouchers, and service contracting, no? So, ngayon, gagawing voucher system na lamang. Tama po ba ang intindi ko sa kabuuang layunin ng bill?
Isa po yun, Honorable Tino, but to clarify, currently, sa e-gospel law natin, grade 7 to 10, sa ilalim po ng panukalang batas na ito, gusto natin hindi lang grade 7 to 12. Gusto natin kasama na rin ang K to 6. Kasi sa totoo po, yun yung pinaka-importanting stage ng pag-aaral at alam natin na hindi natin mahabol yung 165,000 classroom shortage. And we know that there are many I-learners right now. Ano po ang difference? Katatanungin kasi po sa atin eh. Ano ang difference ng ESC at ng voucher system? Ang ESC po, sa ilalim, pag voucher system, simple lang po. Choice ng learner. Kung saan siya mag-aaral na private school. Pag ang voucher system effectively, sumasama, learner's choice yun eh. Kung ano school. Pagdating naman po ng ESC, meron pong NGO, meron isang grupo na siya po nag-aaral ng mga iba-ibang private school sa 7 to 10, tinitingnan po niya doon, meron siyang criteria and guidelines. Alam ni Honorable Tino to. Alam ni, nung last Congress, maliwanag naman po, nangyayari po doon, input-based lahat siya. Ang tinitingnan, vision, mission, tinitingnan yung size ng classroom, yun yung mga batayan nila. Pero nakita natin, the quality of education did not improve. Pangalawa, during committee hearings, ang dami po nagko-complain ng mga medium and small size schools na hindi raw po sila napapansin. Na lagi nabibigyan po ng prioridad ay yung medium to mga malalaking paaralan kasi sila po yung may kaya. Sila yung may pera, sila yung may funding to be able to have yung size ng classroom sa tama, laboratory. Kaya dito po, in-overhaul na natin. Ang sinasabi natin, lahat na lang voucher system. Meaning, student na ang susundan ng financial assistance. Kung saan paaralan na private ang piliin niya, na qualified yung private school na yon, dapat payagan natin yung learner. Pag dito po, outcomes-based na po tayo. Hindi na tayo input-based. Meaning, kunyari isa kang private school na gusto mo mag-qualify sa voucher system natin o financial assistance, kailangan po yung students ninyo mag-a-apply ngayon mag-a-apply yung school sa DepEd at bibigyan ng assessment test yung paaralan na yon. doon natin makaka-establish po tayo ng baseline. Hindi natin sinasabi na kailangan pasado lahat o 50%. In the first year, baseline muna. After that, kailangan naman po pag next year, pag nag-apply po kayo for a voucher system, dapat po nag-improve naman yung scores ng ating mga mag-aaral sa private school because that will show us na may quality yung paaralan. Outcomes-based. So basically po, Honorable Tino, doon po tayo patungo na ngayon under this proposed measure.
Thank you for that, Mr. Speaker. Una, malinaw na ang pangunahing gagawin nito ay, tama ba? Essentially, i-abolish na yung education service contracting na ginagawa ngayon sa junior high school. Di ba? Tapos, papalitan na ito. So, completely papalitan na ng voucher system. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Ngayon po, ang isang tanong natin, by the way, gusto ko rin po idagdag na tama po na meron talagang pangangailangan yung, lalo na yung mga small and even medium-sized private schools. At ito yung mayorya ng mga private school. Kailangan talaga ng suporta.
That's correct.
No, para makapag-deliver ng quality education. And for example, yung mga teachers nila para mabayaran ng tama.
That's correct.
Okay, so sumasang-ayon tayo ron. However, syempre, meron din naman mga private schools na yung malalaki, no, na sa totoo lang, hindi naman nila necessarily kailangan ng mga subsidies, given the very high tuition rates in some exclusive private schools. Pero tanong ko po, Section 3, regarding the coverage, mas ito po, I think the provision requires some clarification. No, kasi napaka-importante ng coverage, no? Sino bang magka-qualify sa mga panukala ng batas na ito? Sabi po rito, this act shall cover all private basic institutions that receive government assistance in the form of vouchers for qualified students, teachers, and schools. This covers all the years of basic education. No? Baka kailangan pong ilinaw. Ang intindi ko kasi dito, ang qualified dito, as written, is are only those private schools that currently receive vouchers as assistance. No?
Hindi po.
Parang ganun po ang dating.
In fact po, no, kung tingnan natin ang Section 4, criteria for voucher assistance, letter A. Again po, no, nakalagay dyan, the voucher assistance may be provided to students belonging to middle income families.
So, no, I understand po, pero yung parang ang as written, kung babasahin po, parang ang sinasabi ng coverage, ang qualified lang po, yung mga private basic education institutions that are part of the voucher system.
Yes.
And currently, that's only senior high schools. Yun po ang concern ko dito sa
Yes.
sa reading ng
Sa Section 3 po.
Section 4, Section 3, yes, correct.
Section 3. Para maliwanag po tayo, ang ibig sabihin po, this act shall cover all private basic education institutions that receive government assistance. Ibig sabihin po nun, itong mga nag-apply na private schools para masakop sila, yun lang naman po ang sakop natin. Kasi kung hindi naman nag-apply yung private school, ayaw po niya ng voucher system, ayaw niya ng financial assistance, why will we cover them? Yun lang po ibig sabihin nito. Sinasabi lang ng Section 3, ang covered lang po niya ay yung mga private schools that want to be covered.
Okay. Well, then maybe that should be reflected in a revision of the wording. Instead of that receive government assistance, that parang ang sinabi nyo, that will apply. Di ba? That will apply for government assistance.
Honorable Tino, we will welcome any language that you want to propose.
Okay.
But I think we both agree that ang ibig lang naman po sabihin nito, kung private school ka, ayaw mo, hindi ka namin covered.
Yes.
Pero kung gusto mo, covered ka.
Okay. Okay, well, that was my intention, is to clarify
Yes,
the intent
tama po,
of the section.
Yes.
So essentially, ang intention po, basta mag-apply ang eskwelahan, pwede siyang makonsider na maging bahagi ng voucher program.
That is
Tama
correct
ba?
po.
Okay. Alright. Then we move on to section 4. So, criteria for voucher assistance. Ito po, may concern po tayo rito. Earlier, in the declaration of policy, may binanggit po about deserving students and especially underprivileged. No? However, dito po sa criteria for students, very specifically, sinabi rito, the voucher assistance shall be provided to students from middle-income families. No?
And below.
And this is a departure from the laws that it seeks to amend. The laws that namely Republic Act 8545 and the even earlier law, which is Republic Act 6728. No, ito yung mga the e-gospel law. Oh, the gospel law, yun yung 6728, and then 8545 is the expanded gospel law. Okay. Doon po kasi, ang formulation ng criteria for assistance, it specifies, sabi dito, a preference shall be given to students whose family income is not more than 72,000 pesos. So, a preference is given, and then there's an amount. No, presumably, this covers up to middle income. Pero ang point ko po, up to ang language. Ibig sabihin, pwede yung the lowest income up to that level. Pero, in the proposed bill, binili po middle income. No, ibig sabihin, parang sinasabi dito, pagka if you are not lower income, then you cannot be qualified. No? I could provide further data on just for the record, ayon sa PSA, ang mga middle income families according to 2023 family income and expenditure survey, yung pinakalit. Middle income, may three brackets. Lower middle income, middle income, and upper middle income.
That's correct.
And yung lower middle income starts with a family with a monthly income of 27,746 up to the upper middle income, which is up to 166,476 per month. So, ang sinasabi po sa bill as proposed ay para lamang po sa middle income ang voucher system. In this language, excluded po yung mga lower income families. Yun po ang gusto natin ipaklarify.
Yes, Honorable Tino, in fact, that will be the subject of an amendment later on. Ang nangyari kasi po dito, currently, habang pinapatupad ang e-GASPE ngayon, ang nangyayari po, ang beneficiaries po ngayon, more or less, nasa middle income lahat. Bakit? Kasi, right now, may cap eh. In order for you, assuming mo, Metro Manila. Pag Metro Manila ka, binibigyan ka lang ng 22,000 per year. Alam natin, napakaliit na amount yon. Ang nangyayari sa ibang estudyante ngayon, kailangan mag-top up. Bibigay pa sila galing sa sarili nilang bulsa. Because of that, currently, at alam natin to during the last Congress pa lang, marami po sa underprivileged natin o yung mga 4Ps, hindi talaga makatransfer sa ating, hindi maka-avail ng voucher system. Later on po, Honorable Tino, I assure you, this will be amended to reflect that belonging to the middle-income families and below. In fact, later on, we will also be proposing an amendment wherein the Department of Education will have the flexibility to provide a higher amount for those recognized as most vulnerable and underprivileged. Kasi po, right now, kung hindi natin isusulat sa bill na ito, hindi magiging batas. Pag ipatuloy po natin yung practice ngayon na may maximum na 22,500 per year, wala po talagang, yung underprivileged po, hindi talaga mag-a-avail nito. Kaya tama po kayo. You are correct. You pointed out correctly. Nakita niyo po na kailangan amendahan, and that will be the subject of an amendment. This will read as follows po. The voucher assistance may be provided to students belonging to middle-income families and below as determined by the Philippine Statistics Authority who attended public schools identified by the Department of Education as congested, or those living in areas with congested public schools or without nearby public schools who wish to enroll in private basic education. Families, this will be a new provision, amendment later on. Families with students who are recognized as most vulnerable and underprivileged shall receive a higher voucher amount as determined by the BEAC in accordance with Section 60 of the Act. Again po, we will ensure po na makaka-avail nito ay yun lamang po, unang-una dapat congested yung DepEd school. Pangalawa, lilipat ka lang doon sa nearby school. Or kung walang DepEd school talaga doon, pwede ka na private school. And the amounts, Honorable Tino, as you pointed out, there will be flexibility on the part of DepEd. Kasi kung ipepeg na naman po dito, alam niyo po, pag wala ka sa NCR o highly urbanized city, 14,000 per year lang ang bibigay sa'yo. That is not enough po. The private school, in fact, will not survive. That is why we want the DepEd to have that flexibility na kung nasa 4-piece program po, punong-puno yung DepEd school, may katabi na private school na may quality. Pwedeng lumipat doon, choice ng learner yon. At yung amount, hindi dapat nakapeg na pantay-pantay lahat. Hindi dapat yung middle income at yung lower income pareho nang tatanggap. Kasi kung hindi magso-survive yung nasa lower income, ang gusto po natin masigurado equal access, equal opportunity to quality education. Kaya tama po kayo. And pasensya na po, but that will be a subject of an amendment later on.
Thank you for that clarification and the additional information provided. Still on that section, criteria for students, in the current version of the text, it says here, the priority students shall receive a higher voucher amount as determined by the Basic Education Assistance Council. So, I would like clarification on priority students. The term priority students is also used in Section 6D, no? Priority subsidy for underprivileged students. Distribution of the government assistance and subsidies programs while ensuring that funding is equitably allocated following the order of priority groups. No? So there's a mention of priority students, priority subsidy, and order of priority groups. However, what needs clarification is what exactly is meant by priority group. No? Wala po kasi dito sa bill, the priority should be, or even standards that would determine what the priority groups would be.
Yes.
That would be entitled to greater subsidies, perhaps. Yes.
That is correct, Honorable Tino. That the intention really is that the priority groups to be given preference we would spell that out in the amendments to ensure that sigurado na po dapat yung una yung pinakamahirap.
Tama.
Pangalawa, dapat congested yung paaralan.
Okay.
Kasi kung hindi naman congested yung paaralan, ay ang DepEd schools natin give quality education. Yun naman ang totoo. Basta hindi naman congested, may quality na sa DepEd schools natin. So, again, we will just spell that out para klaro tayo. Again, Honorable Tino, just para maliwanag sa lahat, because under the proposed amendments later on, ang lalabas ay sinabi natin isama nila sa implementing rules and regulations. Yung definition po nung vulnerable and underprivileged, yung mga ganun po, gusto natin i-define ng DepEd. But if you want it for clarity, we can shift that and put that dito na po sa mismong text. But yung reason rin po doon is really, katulad na banggit po ninyo, for the current law, may nakapeg na presyo di ba? Pero alam natin, moving po yun In fact, hindi na yun yung threshold ngayon That is why, as much as possible, binibigyan na natin ng flexibility sana yung DepEd to be able to, through implementing rules, really keep up with the times.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I would suggest na maglagay sa batas mismo nung at least nung criteria para hindi lang kumbaga bahala na yung whoever will be tasked with coming up with the IRR.
Sige po.
Para hindi rin pa bago-bago. Why is this important? Kasi po, ang standard po sa batas ay middle income and below. No? That's practically, and I'm not exaggerating, that's practically 90% of the population is covered by that.
Yes.
No? So, theoretically, almost all, except for a small percentage, are qualified to receive subsidies. So kaya, maganda po, meron talagang malinaw na criteria. Katulad ng sinabi nyo, lower income, at least priorities, lower income, tapos kung dapat congested talaga yung public school sa lugar, and so on and so forth. So that's important because the basic criteria of middle income and below is very large portion of the population.
That's true. Okay. But Honorable Tino, again, the intention also of the bill, in fact, is really to give students, learners the choice. So kung talagang malawak po yung universe ng middle income, alam rin kasi natin ng totoo, kahit middle income kayo, ngayon, mga 300 plus thousand yung ang middle income Diba yung middle upper income. Pero alam natin, pag nagkasakit naman po yung isa sa pamilya doon, talagang ubos rin po talaga. That is why we want this voucher system to be made available as to a wide array of Filipino families as much as possible. Pero may priority, as you pointed out. Doon tayo mag-uumpisa sa pinaka-nangangailangan.
Okay. Let me jump to clarifications on Section 8. Okay. Again, regarding the amount that will be provided in the voucher program, you touched on this, that currently, in the current bill, a cap is set, and that being that the subsidy to be provided for private schools shall not be more than the subsidy provided per capita to a student in public schools. Yun po yung basic rule sa existing law. The amount of I'm reading from Section 7 of RA 8545, the IGASTE law. The amount of assistance to be given by the government under this section shall not exceed that determined as the per capita student cost in public high schools. This is for the Education Service Contracting program. So parang sabi po, kung ano yung ginagastos sa bawat estudyante sa public school, yun na ang maximum na pwedeng ibigay na tulong sa mga estudyante sa private school. Meron pong ganon. Ngayon, sa proposed bill, ginawa pong minimum yun. The amount shall not be less than the amount currently provided by the DepEd. Ang concern ko lang po is, earlier, you mentioned na sa iba, sabi nyo, in the case of NCR, yung current cap of, did you say something like 21,000 po ba?
22,500 NCR.
Okay. Samantala, sa regions ay
14.
14,000. Okay? Well, but sa totoo lang, hindi naman mas siguro iba pang kaso yung sa NCR. Pero in the case of the regions,
Per year po yun, Honorable Tino.
Opo, per pupil. Pero ang point ko, sa DepEd naman, ang per capita cost is standard across regions. Wala pong regional variation yan. Diba? Hindi naman regionalized ang pagpopondo sa mga public schools ng DepEd. No, so, the point being, the current law actually allows that subsidy for private schools in regions reach up to, let's say, 21,000 if that is actually the per capita cost of subsidizing public school student. No? My point being, perhaps as a general rule, mas tama lang naman, di ba? Dapat ang subsidy para sa private ay hindi, as a rule, hindi dapat lumagpas dun sa ginagastos ng gobyerno ng mga nasa public school. Di ba? So, yung particular concern with regard to NCR may be dealt with as an exception rather than as a general rule. Otherwise, baka magkaroon tayo ng sitwasyon na mas malaki pa yung nilalaang pondo ng gobyerno para suportahan ang private schools kaysa sa mga public schools na hindi naman tama on principle.
That is correct. Honorable Tino, we do not want to, that is not being touched within this Section 8. Ang sinasabi lang po ng Section 8, kung nangyari po yung amount ngayon na binibigay po ay 14,000 sa isang probinsya, under this new rule, under this new law, huwag bababa sa amount na yun. Yun lang naman ibig sabihin niya. But Honorable Tino, ayaw rin naman namin bigyan ng cap because at the end of the day, strict naman tayo. Remember, we mentioned in order for you to avail of this, congested na yung classrooms. Meaning talagang I-learners na ang karamihan nandun, which is happening now because may 165,000 classroom shortage tayo. Sa iba po, sinasabi nila walang shortage, di ba? But Honorable Tino, you and I know that's not true. The reason only why DepEd can say that with confidence now, kasi dino-double shift nila o tini-triple shift nila. Siyempre, pag dino-double shift, triple shift mo, konti na yung oras nung mag-aaral doon sa paaralan, kaya siguro yung talagang I-learners, mas konti lang. But we know the truth. It is more than the number that is being stated now. Kasi meron na tayong double shift, tas meron pa tayong online, may modular pa. But we all know the truth in Honorable Tino. Hindi online or modular is not as effective as face-to-face. Ang kailangan po natin talaga, maibalik na one shift per DepEd school, hindi double shift. Ngayon po meron talaga yung double shift at they count that as already parang walang excess. Pero the quality of education is lowered. So kung ang concern po ninyo, Honorable Tino, is overall, kunyari sa isang probinsya, o sa isang syudad, ang gagastusin dahil sa voucher system ay aangat dun sa ginagastos ng DepEd para sa DepEd school, tingin ko that will never happen simply because salaries pa lang ng ating DepEd teachers, MOE nila, yung mga facilities na nangyayari doon, will be much more. Pero ayaw lang natin sana bigyan ng limit ng ginagawa po ngayon na 14,000 maximum for 1 year. At the end of the day, even that school will never progress. Kasi effectively, parang 7,000 per sem. Sino ba naman school ang mabubuhay po? How will you be able to first give the salaries of your teachers? Masyadong maliit po yun. We want a dynamic DepEd to be able to adjust to the times and situations. Kasi ano naman po talaga to this is all for quality education for our students. So hopefully po, I address your concern, but kung i-exceed po doon, this provision is simple lang po. Dapat wag bumaba.
Okay.
Yun lang naman sinasabi niya.
Yes, klaro po. I was saying na yung kaso na may 14,000 na subsidy sa region, actually, the current law allows for a higher subsidy. So, mas decision ng whichever, is it the PAYAC or whatever, decision nila yun. But the law actually allows a higher subsidy kasi nga, the law says, iba tayo sa subsidy ng DepEd sa public schools, which is higher. Hindi lang 14,000 ang ginagastos ng DepEd para sa isang estudyante niya. But however, my larger point is, tingin ko sa batas, I'm still of the view na dapat meron ding maximum na itakda. No, rather than the current phrasing, which is essentially unlimited. No, it gives walang tinatakda ang batas na limit sa possible subsidy sa private. Yun ang concern po natin.
But Honorable Tino, the beneficiaries will be students belonging to middle income to the lower income. Siguro naman po, pag yun man ang pinag-usapan natin, hindi naman makikinabang dapat dito yung medyo may kaya. And I think, di ba nga po, those who have less in life must have more in law.
Exactly.
Yun ang gusto natin.
Opo.
Ang problema kasi po, under the current law now, nakalagay dyan not less than 14,000. Kunyari yun ang nakalagay. Pero dahil nakalagay lang not less than 14,000, ang ginagawa, uniform. Lahat ng estudyante, regardless of your economic background, 14,000 ka lang per year. So, ang nangyari po, na-exclude dito yung mga nabibilang sa may hirap na pamilya kasi kailangan nilang i-top up yun. Pag hindi nila na-top up yun, hindi rin nila matatapos yung education nila sa private school. So, siguro po, maybe we should look within the parameters of this proposed measure, which is, ang beneficiary nito talaga middle to lower income. Ang preference, yung lower income, congested. Kung gumastos po tayo ng mas malaki doon, siguro both of us will agree that okay lang po yun because at the end of the day, we want them to have quality education. Kasi hirap rin po.
Yes, ako rin naman po, ang pinanggagalingan natin, yun ng Maxine, no? That those who have less in life should have more in law. No? So, basta malinaw, sana maging malinaw sa batas na kapag lower income, tapos hindi ma-accommodate sa mga private school, sa mga public school because of congestion, they may receive a higher subsidy, but as a general rule, kasi nga, ito pang up to middle income So in other words, hindi na ito yung mga pinakamahirap. No? Ayaw natin magkaroon ng sitwasyon na mas malaki pa ang natatanggap na subsidy ng mga middle income earners na nasa private schools or middle income family students na nasa private school kaysa sa mga estudyanteng nasa public school.
I understand.
As a general rule.
Yes.
No? Okay.
So we will ensure po that the language is clear.
Yes.
That yung adjustment upward ng financial assistance from government will only be to those underprivileged and those that you congested.
Okay.
Let's make sure of that po.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. Now, again, still in Section 8, actually, very crucial po itong paragraph na to because this is the provision of law that establishes the 70-20% rule for tuition fee increases. Diba? Napakahalaga, lalo na sa mga teachers and students, no? With regard to tuition fee increases in private schools. So, dito po, na-retain yung 70% of the amount of the tuition increases shall go to the payment of salaries, wages, allowances, pero ang sabi po dito, and other statutory benefits of teaching and non-teaching personnel. Okay? If we compare to the language of the existing law, ang kaibahan po ay
Vouchers. Expand natin po.
Wala po yung salitang statutory sa existing law. Okay? Now, parang maliit lang na amendment, no? Pero tingin ko malaki pong epekto niyan, no? The existing law says that tuition increases shall go to the payment of salaries, wages, allowances, and other benefits of teaching and non-teaching personnel. Sa proposed nyo po, and other statutory benefits of teaching and non-teaching personnel. May malaking impact po ito kasi sinabi niyong statutory. That basically limits what the 70% of tuition fee increase may be used for. No, ngayon, statutory benefits na lang. Di ibig sabihin kung ano lang yung tinatakda ng batas. No, ibig sabihin, ano ba mga tinatakda ng batas? Overtime pay, 13th month pay, and so on. Okay? Ini-exclude nito yung mga benefits that, for example, teachers' unions routinely negotiate or bargain for in their collective bargaining. Diba yung mga union? So malaking bagay po ito na may malaking impact. Parang nga sinasabi dito, yung tuition, yung income from tuition fees may only be used for statutory benefits. Malaking restriction na mangyayari sa bargaining power ng ating mga teachers unions. Yun po ang concern natin.
Honorable Tino, if you read this particular paragraph from line 20, schools participating in the basic education may increase on the condition that 70% of the amount of the tuition increases shall go to the payment of salaries, wages, allowances, and other statutory benefits of teaching and non-teaching personnel. Hindi ba po favorable nga po ito sa ating teaching and non-teaching personnel? Kasi ang gusto po natin, kung participant ka ng voucher system ng gobyerno, sigurado lang na 70% of any of your tuition fee increases will now have to benefit solely the teaching and non-teaching personnel. Yun lang naman ibig niya sabihin? Honorable Tino, this was extensively discussed even with the various groups, and I think that ang intindi namin, ang gusto lang naman ng lahat, ay yung 70% of any increase, kailangan para sa benefit of teaching and non-teaching. Yun lang. So,
we agree with that. Kaya lang, bagong language po ito na in-introduce dito sa provision. Pwede naman sana, i-retain na lang yung dati. Bagong language po, nilagay yung other statutory benefits that unduly restricts the benefits of teachers to those that are prescribed by law. Yes. Samantala, maraming mga benepisyo, precisely, ang ginagawa ng mga union ay they bargain for
that is correct.
For
that is covered by the
that
first
are
part.
On top of what is provided by law. Diba? Kung nasa batas na, bakit ka pa mag-negotiate? Diba? So, yun po ang concern natin. And in this, I am speaking for the interests of teachers unions. Napaka-importante po ng provision na ito sa kanila.
Honorable Tino, would you want us to, are you proposing to remove the phrase and other statutory benefits of teaching and non-teaching?
Just the word statutory po. Just the word statutory. And other benefits. Okay na yun. Okay. Pero hindi na po yung statutory kasi nga matatali na lang sa kung ano ang tinatakda ng batas.
Oh. Pero again, Honorable Tino, just to understand, if we remove the first shall go to payment of salaries, wages, and allowances, hindi ba doon na yun yung other benefits na hindi statutory? Yun yung subject also of collective bargaining agreements or various things because that will all be included there. Ang sinasabi lang natin, gusto lang natin ma-assure yung mga teachers na lahat talaga kasama, pati yung statutory, dapat lahat doon ginagastos yung increase.
Well, kung gusto pong ganon, the better language would be, kasi po yung sa construction na ito, and other statutory benefits, then that means that, for example, the salaries, wages, the allowances are only statutory allowances. Di ba? Kasama na siya. Kasi and other di ba? And other statutory benefits. So, all of these enumerated will be unduly restricted to statutory benefits when in fact, sa actual, sa mga schools na may unions, they enjoy more than just those benefits statutorily provided, meaning provided by law. Diba? Mga medical benefits nila, mga health plan, mga ganyan, na wala naman po sa batas yun.
Honorable Tino, I think we both are, we have the same direction.
Yes.
We want them, all we want to point out is dapat 70% of the increase should go directly benefiting teaching and non-teaching personnel.
Yes.
If the word statutory is creating a disturbance, we agree, we will
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker, and to the honorable sponsor. Thank you for that. Malaking bagay po yun. Okay. Again, this is a very sensitive portion of the bill. Ang isa pa pong concern natin, in the original po, ay merong provisions for availability of
What section po?
the records. So we're still in section 8.
Okay.
Let me see. I'm talking about dito, no? At, for this purpose, schools shall maintain a separate record of accounts for all assistance received from the government, any tuition increase, and the detailed disposition and use thereof, which record shall be made available for periodic inspection as may be determined by DepEd. Okay. Sa current law, ay mayroon pong mga tinanggal. No? Let me just see. Saan ba yun? Dali lang po, Mr.
Seems, di ba pareho lang, Honorable Tino, from the current?
Yeah, may natanggal po.
Oh, sige po.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, balikan ko, hindi ko mahanap at the moment.
Honorable Tino, I think that is exactly the same.
Okay. May mga provisions po na natanggal kasi hindi po DepEd ang originally in that.
Baka
no?
naman,
Okay.
Depende
But
sa yeah.
let me skip over that first and I will return to it. Ito na po, yung isang significant concern po natin with regard to the teacher salary subsidy. Of course, mahalaga po yan dahil ang mga private schools po talaga, generally, especially the smaller and medium-sized schools, actually mas mababa ang pasweldo kumpara sa kahit sa public schools natin, no? Meron pong linya dito, teacher subsidy. Okay. Okay. In the current law, the total monthly salary, which includes the subsidy to be received by such private high school teachers, shall not be more than 80% of the salary of his counterpart in the public sector. Dito po, well, siguro, hindi lang po tayo ng clarification. Dito po ay the government shall provide the teachers with salary subsidy to be determined by the DepEd. Ganun na lang po. So may pagka-general.
Yes.
No? That could be a good thing. That could be a negative, no? Dahil walang malinaw na standards as to the subsidy. The amount of subsidy that may be provided to private school teachers. No? Ano po ba ang thinking ng sponsor kaugnay dito? Why hindi ba pwedeng mag-provide tayo ng more specific standards on, for example, ang gusto ng mga private school teachers ay, lalo na yung entry-level teachers, may pantay sa public school ang kanilang sweldo. Hindi po ba pwedeng maging ganun tayo ka-specific sa provision
Honorable
nito?
Tino, again, that would depend on the budget that the Congress approves. At the end of the day, yung pa rin yun. Pero we should take a look at this section for the improvements that it has done. Una, tinanggal na po natin yung let requirement for any teacher. Dati po, under the current law, kailangan let passer ka para magkaroon ka ng TSS pag nagtuturo ka ng mga voucher recipient. Dito po, tinanggal na po natin yan. So we should take a look at this from the positive side. Pangalawa po, klinaro po natin dito and we should point this out. We fought for this. It says, provided finally that the salary subsidy received by the teacher shall form part of the exclusions from gross income. I mean, we improved, in fact.
Okay. We recognize the improvements, Mr. Speaker. For clarification, nabanggit niyo po na tinanggal yung requirements sa existing law that the subsidy may only be received by duly licensed teachers.
That is correct. And the reason why we deleted that particular phrase is not out of women caprice. The reason why we removed that, because under this proposed measure, outcomes-based na po tayo. May assessment na magaganap. Ibig sabihin, pag recipient yung eskwelahan na yan, ng voucher, quality yung school na yan. Kung quality yung school na yan, again po, whether let passer o hindi, the teachers, alam naman natin quality rin. And that is the sole reason for that.
Thank you for that. Pwede po bang maging mas malinaw? Kasi ginagamit po dito yung salitang teachers. And we have existing laws, no, including, for example, the Teacher Professionalization Act, na mayroong definition doon ng teacher, and that being a licensed teacher. So, ang concern lang po natin, kung ang intention po ay may bukas yung teacher subsidy, even to probationary teachers, talaga na po yung practice na yan sa mga private schools natin. No, kasi up to 3 years ang probationary period for yung mga wala pang lisensya, di ba, working towards a license. They could easily be excluded from this provision. So, mas maganda po, pang-ayon tayo, sumasalubong tayo dun sa intention nyo, na dapat maibukas ito sa mga hindi license pero pinagtuturo. No? So, maybe we could introduce some more explicit language about that.
Honorable Tino, first of all, under statutory construction, kung hindi natin i-define dito ang teacher, like what we have done to yung mga laws natin that are very specific on meaning kailangan license, let passer, then it is the common understanding of what a teacher is as defined in the dictionary. And we are taking a look at that now because ang alala po namin, if we start defining, then nililimit pa po natin. Let us make it as general as possible so that may laban po yung private school, yung teacher, nakasama siya. And the fact that we deleted that particular provision, na licensed teacher in the current law, from this proposed law, means na sinasabi natin hindi kailangan na let passer. That is, it should be viewed as under statutory construction as simple as that. Ang fear ko lang po, pag nag-start tayo mag-define, then dun po nag-uumpisa yung pag-limit under law, under statutory construction eh. So at least, dito po, sa usapan natin dito, in our exchange in this plenary, we both agree the teacher should be understood in its most common term. Someone who educates a child in a formal school without need for license, without need to be a let passer. Para mas may leeway lang po yung private school na teacher yan. Dapat payagan natin magkaroon ng TSS yan. Kasi tinanggal na natin yung requirement na let passer.
Thank you for that response, Mr. Speaker. I would still push for some language such as teachers or those that perform the actual teaching function, something like that. Para mas maluwag po, no? Okay, but let me move on so as not to further belabor the point. I think I've made my point clear.
Honorable Tino,
Yes.
under the definition of Oxford Dictionary, it just says a person who teaches in a school. That's it. So that will really, if we don't define, that is the definition. Under statutory construction, that is a first year subject in the College of Law. They would tell you, follow
Okay.
the common term as used in the dictionary. And that should cover every teacher already. Hindi na yung licensed or unlicensed. I hope that should, so that it gives the school some flexibility to the teacher also.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I understand. Pero syempre, the interpretation and implementation of this law should also be consistent with existing laws, all other existing laws. Ang concern ko lang po ay meron tayong Teacher Professionalization Act,
That is correct.
which has a strict definition of a professional teacher
That is correct.
na yun lang lisensyado. So yun po ang
Yes.
concern ko na kung hindi i-specify dito na pwede kahit sa hindi mga lisensyado ay kailangan mag-prevail yung existing definitions outside of this law. But I think I've already made that point. No? So sana po ay ma-consider ng ating sponsor. Okay. Dito po tayo sa program implementation, administration and implementation. So, dito po, there is a proposal to create, parang nire-repeal po yung section, yung existing section, and then a basic education assistance council, something like that.
Yes.
The BEAC is in effect created along with the Bureau of Private Education in the DepEd. It says here, the BEAC shall be composed of the Secretary of the DepEd as chairperson and the Secretary of Department of Economy, Planning and Development, DepDev, and Secretary of DBM as members. And they are the ones that basically set the policy for the implementation of this voucher program. It's not only the DepEd, here it's still the DEX, no? DepEd, merong CHED, and then TESDA. Understandably, wala yung CHED at TESDA because the coverage is basic education in this case, no? And then the representatives from NEDA, now the DepDev, and the DBM. No? And then there's DOST, pero tinanggal na dito. And representatives from duly organized, ito po yung concern natin. Under the existing law, kasama po sa council, yung representatives from duly organized nationwide associations of teachers, students, parents, and school administrators concerned with secondary, post-secondary, vocational, and technical education and higher education members. So may representatives are not included in the council. No, so yun po yung concern natin.
Yes, but it does not exclude stakeholders who are, especially those from not from government, from being from guiding the BEAC itself. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Tino, the reason for this is really for us to be able to move quicker. Kasi minsan po, sa dami po ng talagang ng members ng isang komisyon, ng isang committee, ang tagal po bago makapagdesisyon. We have to be quick with respect to adjustments, with respect to subsidies, financial assistance, the voucher, because talagang moving po talaga lahat eh. But it does not mean that it is not transparent. It does not mean that they will not be consulted. In fact, I'm 100% sure the consultation process will be followed by the Secretaries of Education, DepDev, and DBM. Because kahit ngayon po, kailangan talaga ng inputs ng lahat ng stakeholders. But this is really to make decisions quicker because kailangan po natin mag-adjust talaga eh. Sa totoo po, ang tagal na po nitong, yung sinasabi niyong commission ay yung, ano ta? State Assistance Council. But again, take a look how many times they've met. Ano yung mga changes na nangyari. In fact po, we are stuck now currently with amounts for our voucher which cannot be availed of by the underprivileged families talaga po. From 14,000 to 22,500, hindi po talaga kakayanin. Talagang we need a committee, a commission that will act quicker, that will consult, that will be transparent, but will be able to adjust quickly to the different situations. One size does not fit all eh. Sa totoo po, talagang kailangan lang po, may konting dynamism. Kailangan po mabilis po rin talaga mag-acto. But it does not mean mawawalang consultation and transparency. But you know, Honorable Tino, sometimes pag sobrang dami po talaga ng membership, talaga nagkakaproblema. Let me give you an example po. Yung anti-bullying. We have an Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. Ang ganda po nung nakasulat doon. Yung IRR po, napakaganda rin po. Ang committee po natin sa anti-bullying, napakalaki. Pero hindi po matigil yung bullying. Pangalawa, pag may bullying, hindi makareact ka agad. Because sa dami ng members noon, kailangan magpulong po lahat yon. That is why that was also adjusted now. We made it much simpler para makapag-react ka agad. Kasi there are really pressing issues that must be addressed quickly. Pero that does not mean walang consultation. Honorable Tino, here we really ask for your understanding. Kasi talagang hindi na pwede yung mga amounts na ito. Hindi na pwede yung quality in education natin ngayon. We really need to move quick. We need to move fast. And dito po, dadaan rin naman sa Kongreso eh. And here, we are the representatives of our constituents. And dito po, we can fight for them. But ang point is, kailangan may dynamism. Kailangan medyo quick yung mga magagawin po nila. And I'm sure po, based on what we have provided, hindi bababa yung amounts. Paakyat po talaga tayo. What we want po is to really use the government funds for our underprivileged up to middle income para equal access talaga to quality education.
Salamat po sa paliwanag. I would still, this representation would still maintain na kaya po at dapat, as a matter of principle, ibalanse yung pangangailangan na mabilis na kumilos at tumugon with yung kahalagahan ng pag-include sa mga stakeholders mismo at the level of the policy-making body, which is provided in the current law. Sana po wag tanggalin. No? So yung representation ng teachers, students, and parents. No? So, inirehistro ko lang po na I maintain that should still be in the existing law. And in connection with that, earlier, I mentioned that, again, going back to the Section 8 of the bill, this has to do with the 70%, the tuition fee increases.
Yes.
Napakahalaga po nito. Kaya pala hindi ko mahanap sa Republic Act, sa expanded e-GASPE law is because the provision has been retained without amendment in the original GASPE law. No? So sa original GASPE law po, ang sinasabi ay for the tuition fee increases, dito po yung provision on that 70% of the amount should go to the payment of salaries, etc. And then at least 20% shall go to improvement or modernization of buildings, equipment, etc. No? Meron pong provision in the GASPE law which says, for this purpose, schools shall maintain a separate record of accounts for all assistance received from the government, any tuition fee increase, and the detailed disposition and use thereof, which record shall be made available for periodic inspection as may be determined by the State Assistance Council during business hours by the faculty, the non-teaching personnel, students of the school concerned, the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports, and other concerned government agencies. Sa GASPE law po, minamandato na pag may tuition fee increase, yung paggamit ng tuition fee increase ay kailangan may record. No? Para matiyak na 70% talaga ng tuition fee increase ay ginamit talaga for salaries, benefits of teachers and employees, and so on. Napaka-controversial po nito. There have been cases filed in our courts dahil ayaw ipakita ng mga school yung pasan ba ginamit yung tuition fee increase. No? Kaya napakahalaga. At ito yung tinutungtungan ng mga teachers. However, sa ating proposed bill dito ay nawala na po yun. No? Ang sabi na lang po rito, for this purpose, schools shall maintain a separate record of accounts for all assistance received from government, any tuition increase, and the detailed disposition and use thereof, which record shall be made available for periodic inspection as may be determined by the DepEd. So parang nakadepende na po sa DepEd yung access to these records, whereas in the existing law, malinaw po, it shall be made available to faculty, to students, or whoever would like to know. No? So, yun po, concern natin.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to request the Honorable Tino to wrap up.
Honorable
Tino?
there is a department order.
Honorable Tino, please wrap it up. Yes. Mr. Speaker, thank you. I will, thank you for that. I will wrap up.
Yes. Honorable Tino, there is a specific department order which sets the process for being able to inspect. I think all that for this particular provision, the power, the determination by DepEd is really just for the timing. Hindi naman kasi pwedeng kunyari ho lampas ng school hours ay doon magi-inspect. I think yun lang naman po yung point. If you want, we will make reference to the department order to make it specific. We have no intention of hiding this from from the faculty, staff. Ang inaano lang po dito ng DepEd is the time.
Okay.
Yun lang naman po yun. It's not that it should be viewed, midnight o parang ganon.
Then I would suggest i-retain na po yung language dito because yung DepEd order nakabatay din naman po sa ito yung legal basis ng DepEd order. Pag tinanggal po yan, DepEd order can be revoked or rescinded any time. Thank you for that, Ms. Pugni. Last na po, wrap up na po tayo, is with regard to the appropriations clause. Siguro pinaka-importanting tanong po ito. No, dahil nga i-expand yung coverage, mako-cover na ng voucher system, pati kinder up to elementary, how much additional funding is required, and ano po mangyayari sa existing education services contracting program ng DepEd, no? Baka, this could mean significant disruption, at least in the initial implementation of this. So yun po ang dalawang tanong actually, yun na po ang huli natin.
Thank you for that, both questions. Yung huli po, in fact, magkakaroon ng amendment for a transitory provision because alam po natin na hindi naman na-i-implement immediately yung mga patakaran na ganito ng DepEd. So we are giving the DepEd 5 years, and in the meantime, habang wala pa yung implementing rules nila, the ESC for grades 7 to 10 should continue as is para walang maapektuhan na estudyante. Because again po, it will not be that easy to shift because it will be outcomes-based. Pag outcomes-based na po siya, dapat may at least 2 exams na maganap. So that will happen within the 5 years. We've given them 5 years under the proposed amendment.
Thank you.
Majority Leader?
Wait. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, sa transitory bill, mukhang hindi pa po tapos yung sagot.
Yes. Currently,
we have the time is up, and there's several bills to consider.
Majority Leader. May sagot na lang po, Mr. Speaker. Huling sagot.
More or less.
Honorable Roman is now recognized.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Speaker, just to address the last issue, which is how much is currently being spent, For senior high school, it's about 23 billion per year. For the ESC, it's about 8 to 10 billion per year also. Yan po yung total amount. Again, this will expand, this will increase because K to 6 na ang gusto rin natin, which is the bulk of our students. Plus the TSS po.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and to the sponsor. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Mr.
Majority
Speaker.
Leader.